Hi everyone, welcome to episode 9 of the Right on Cue podcast with me, Mark Tebbett, filmed here at Tamworth Sports Bar. Today I've got world number 124 Jenson Kendrick with me. Say hello, Jenson.
Hello everyone.
Good to see you. How are you feeling?
I'm alright, thank you. How are you?
Yeah, I'm not too bad, mate, not too bad. Right, I've got quite a few questions for you, so we'll just crack on. So the first question I always ask is, how did you get into snooker? How did your love for the game begin?
It started, I was quite a late age to be honest. I was about 12, 13. And I actually broke my leg playing football.
Oh, right, okay.
And then my dad took me to the snooker club one Sunday when I was in the cast. And there was a under-16s tournament being played. It was the first time I ever picked up a cue. And I ended up winning it.
Just the first time you ever played and you won a tournament?
Yeah, first time I ever picked up a cue, yeah. And then I kind of got a bit unconfident with football because of my leg and just fell in love with snooker and just carried it on ever since then, really.
Oh, good. So where you're based in Stoke, aren't you?
Yeah.
What club do you play at?
I play at the Reardon.
Okay. Do you like have a coach or do you just sort of solo?
I play with Liam Highfield. So he helps me out a lot. And we used to have a coach called David Deeks who used to own the pub and club that we play at, but he passed away. But he helped us out massively, giving us the free table, and he gave us a lot of knowledge of the game and certain shots and all that kind of stuff. He was brilliant.
Yeah. Do you have a favourite practice routine?
Favourite, probably the double lineup.
Okay. I don't think I've heard of that one. How does that work?
You basically put 8 reds in a line between pink and black or over the pink spot, and then 7 reds about a centimetre to the right of them. So the first red you pop goes in one pocket, then the next one has to go in the other. But it tests your patience.
So I'm guessing that's just all about the positioning.
Yeah, you have to be spot on every shot, and if you're not, then you have to start over.
So you play in a lot of pro-am tournaments.
Yeah.
I'm guessing you've won quite a handful of them. How do you adapt to the different table conditions? Because obviously every club's got different kind of tables. How do you adapt to
them? Well, most clubs that you go to, that the tables are going to be a bit slower or a bit sluggier, so you have to hit the ball a bit harder. So really, you just kind of carry it on from a young age, because from a younger age, you're used to them kind of tables, so it doesn't really go away from you. But it is quite hard the first couple of matches you play.
Yeah.
You go from practicing on a table that you see on tally, and like the break-off shot, it's a bit thicker, so the balls are open, and if you're playing someone half decent, that can be your first chance gone. But I think it's just about keeping yourself composed and even throw in a few extra safety shots just to know the run of the table and just to see how the table's playing, and then you can kind of get a mindset of how the match is going to go from there, really.
Yeah. In 2019, you were the English Amateur Under 18 champion and the English Amateur Six Reds champion. So it weren't too bad a season there. What do you remember about them tournaments?
The under 18s, I remember it being a big thing then. It was like, you win the under 18s or the 21s, and you get quite a bit from it afterwards.
Yeah.
And everyone was raving about winning this tournament, and I kind of went into it thinking, this is a massive tournament, and I felt good enough to obviously win it. And I remember the semi-finals was at Leeds. I can't remember who I was playing, and it was first to 5, and I think I went 3-0 down or something.
Yeah.
And I went to the toilet, and I remember saying to myself, I think I made about 5-6 centuries all day leading up to the semis, and I'm 3-0 down. And I remember just thinking, just pretend you're in the last 16 or last 32 again. And I think I went out and I made about 5 breaks above 70 to win 5-3, and then obviously you're in the final, and that was played at a later date. It was a good tournament, and the Six Reds was the same. I remember a good friend of mine, Graham Beardmore, who plays in Stoke.
Yeah.
We travelled together, and I think the semi-finals finished at about 2:30 in the morning, or something ridiculous.
Yeah.
They
In
were long
the
days.
final, you played Hamim Hussein in both, didn't you?
Yeah, I did.
You scalped him in both.
Yeah, I think I know he doesn't want to be reminded, but I think
Yes.
the under-18s was 6-0 or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a bit of a twitchy one, that was at the start, but I think at the end I kind of just got on top of him and won that quite easily.
Yeah. Was it the same in the Six Reds, or was that more?
No, I think we played the Six Reds about 4 hours after we played the under-18s or something, and it was like a completely different game. Neither of us could miss a ball in the Six Reds, so
Yeah.
I was quite lucky to win that, really.
Yeah. So jumping forward a few years, when you got your 2-year tour card from Q School,
Yeah.
After you'd won that, did you set yourself any targets for your 2 years as a pro?
Yeah, I set myself kind of mini targets. I didn't set a big targets in a way. I remember I went to the club the day after I turned pro.
Yeah.
Straight away went in, and I was talking with Liam, and we were talking about like these targets and everything. But obviously some things don't go to plan, and you kind of have to reset and make new targets that are more realistic. And I think that's what we've had to do coming up to the end of the first season, going into the second season now.
Yeah. Obviously, after next season, you're going to want to be in the top 64 to guarantee your place. Without sounding too harsh, it's not been the best of first seasons for yourself, has it?
No. And it's just how the game goes. You know, I was coming to the start of the season, the first couple of matches, I was the highest in confidence I've ever been. You know, just getting on the tour and playing the best snooker, and then you come up against players. Like I think my first match was against Wu Yi's, young Chinese player, and I lost 5-3, but I was still buzzing with confidence. And it's like going into these matches, I've had quite a few now where I've lost 4-3 or 4-2, and I should have won. And that damages your confidence a bit. So you're going into the next match thinking if it's 2-2 or 3-2 or something like that, you've just got it sticking in the back of your mind, and it damages you a little bit. But you just got to keep the practice going and just try your hardest every match, really.
Because the mental side of snooker is obviously really important. How do you approach each game mentally?
Most of it is on the practice table. So you just try and get yourself into the rhythm as if you were in the match on the practice table, whether you're playing someone or doing solo.
Yeah.
And then just like coming home and chilling out and try and get in the best mindset you can. And what I've learned now is playing with Liam and going off what Liam does is put it all on the practice table. And as soon as you leave the club to come home, is just completely forget about snooker. Don't let it stay on your mind too long, because then it starts eating away at your whole life, and then that's when it starts bringing you down massively.
Yes. And how often do you practice?
Every day.
How many hours would you say roughly?
Probably a minimum of 6.
Oh, okay. So
minimum of 6, and some like leading up to the World Championships. Now me and Liam probably do 9-10 hours days probably.
Yeah. Do you have a job to go alongside, sort of keep the money going?
No, nothing. No, just full-time snooker. No sort of part-time job or anything like that.
Yeah. So how would you deal with the pressure during tournaments? Do you have certain techniques to deal with the pressure, or do you just speak to someone like Liam and they help you along?
Yeah, a bit of both of that. I've learned a lot from Liam. Like in tournaments, when you're sitting in your chair and your opponent's at the table, kind of breathing techniques to keep yourself calm and stuff like that, and just the way you think. Just as stupid as it sounds, like sitting in your chair and thinking about what you're having for tea, just to take your mind off the game, and then if they miss or leave you in with a chance, you're kind of refreshed. You're going in with a fresh mind. But pressure's a hard thing to deal with. I don't think there's anyone on tour that can 100% say that they've never felt pressure.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's just one of them natural things that everyone's going to feel.
Yeah, so when I was doing my podcast with Peter Devlin, I don't know if you saw it, and I've asked the same question to Ryan Thomason in the last episode.
Yeah.
It was sent in by Gary Filtness, and I think it's a really good question. So I am going to try and ask every player this.
Okay.
Do you prefer the tiered system of a draw or a flat 128 draw?
Personally, I prefer the tiered system, definitely.
Yeah.
With the flat 128 draw, when anyone can draw anyone.
Yeah.
For an example, two of the home nations draws, I think it was something like Ali Carter was playing Stephen Maguire, and I think Liam had one of the top 16 players. And then the tournament after, it was like 4 top 16 players were playing each other, and then down the rankings you've got kind of us lot playing each other.
Yeah.
I just think when it's tiered, like the World Championships and the UK Championship has been, it's like that you're playing someone around your rank, and it's going to be a fairer game. And if you win them matches where you've got to play the top players, and then you're playing a 64 player, then a top 32 player, you've earned it.
Yeah, and I suppose your confidence builds as well.
Yeah, it is. One match can change how you play. You could win one match and go on to win 3 or 4 matches. Whereas playing like the flat draw, I think the tournaments where we've had to play a flat draw, I've played top 32 players every tournament.
Yeah.
It's fair because obviously I want to beat them kind of people, but when you're playing them repeatedly and they're at the top of the game, it gets a bit draining.
Yeah. Obviously, the WST bought in the £20,000 for players. Is that helped you out quite a lot?
Yeah, it's helped out massively.
Yeah.
It took the pressure off having to win matches to earn money. And you're not going into matches with the mindset, oh, I've got to win this match. I don't want to say you can play freely, but it has took it off the back of your mind, and then like with your life, we've just got our own place, and we've got a little baby on the way.
Oh, congratulations!
Thank you very much. Well, he's due in the next week and a half, so.
How soon then?
Yeah, well, he's due on 3rd of April, start of the World Championship, so hopefully a week later or a week early will do me.
Yeah. I was going to ask, how do you balance your professional career with your personal life?
It's really good now, to be fair. We've like I said, me and my girlfriend, we've got our own place now. So I go out and do all the practice, and then I come home. I've got my tea cooked for me, thank God. But yeah, it's good, having the free life of being able to just come home and chill out, do what you want, and then wake up the next morning, go practice. If I want practice 10 till 8, I can.
Yeah.
It's just nice being able to kind of be my own player and be my own manager type of thing.
That's really good. What's your favourite snooker match that you've played in?
Professional or amateur?
Do one of each.
Professional, I'd probably. It's going to sound weird, but playing Kyron Wilson, he beat me 5-0, but it was an experience being able, because you watch him on tally and like shots to go for and stuff, but actually playing him, and I played a really good safety there, and it's like he just drops a long ball in and clears up.
Yeah.
And in the back of my mind, I'm thinking that he's about half an inch off the cushion. I've left him a straight long red. He's dropped it in as if it's nothing. Made 100. Okay. And probably amateur, I'd go was quite a while ago. I think it was about 2016. The EASB did. It was like a weekend of tournaments, and I played Jake Nicholson, who sadly passed away. And it was a best of 5, and I remember going 2-0 up. I had 109 or something like that in the first frame, and a 90 in the second. So he's gone toilet, come back, and he's made 138, 134, and 130 to win, to beat me 3-2.
Yeah, it's not too bad, is it?
No, and there was about 20, 30 people watching. Obviously, he just went mental when he potted the last black in the last frame. He couldn't believe it himself.
Yeah. So on the Pro Tour, is there anyone that you get on best with?
Obviously. And then most of the lads my age, so Dylan Emery from Wales, we've been like snooker best mates since both of us first played in the tournament together.
Yeah.
Aaron L. Just a lot of people like that, and then you get talking to a lot of them. So like Murphy, speak to Murphy most tournaments that we see.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, they're all a good bunch of lads. You know, you can have a chat with any of them. But most of the time, I'm probably just with Dylan or Aaron.
Yeah. Do you travel to tournaments with anyone, or are you a one-man band?
No, my dad comes everywhere with me.
Right.
And
he's
never missed a tournament.
Is he there for moral support, is he?
Yeah, he's there for everything. He's a good snooker player, my dad is as well. So he hasn't got the in-depth thought of everything that happens, but you can tell when I'm not quite on it. He can tell if I'm doing something wrong. So like at the mid-session, he'll tell me, "Oh, you're just doing this kind of thing." And when I come off, if I've lost, he's the first person there to tell me what's gone wrong, what I did well, and kind of stuff. So it's good having him there. But sometimes with your parents, they get a bit too much, can't they?
They can do. Luckily, mine sort of leave me alone in that respect. But so what are your future goals in snooker and in your personal life?
With snooker, I think everyone's personal goal is obviously be the best, isn't it? World number one, will win the world championships. But I think at the minute before all that comes, it's just kind of solidify my name on the tour, kind of getting that 64. Push on to win ranking events, no matter how big or small they are.
Yeah.
And with my personal life, it's just obviously now with the babies, be the best dad and provide for the family, and work forward, and everything will just work out nicely for us, I think.
Yeah. So if you could share any knowledge or tips for a younger generation, say 12, 13, 14-year-old, what sort of tips would you give them to improve their game to reach the next level like yourself?
Normally when at that age, if you're just picking up your cue or you can make a few breaks, it is just enjoying it and potting balls.
Yeah.
As simple as it sounds, we all, well, I've definitely seen some kids who have got great techniques and they can pot balls, but they've already started focusing on like match play and like how to beat people. And I think at that kind of age, all you need to do is just pot as many balls as you can. Don't worry about your technique. If you look good or look bad, it doesn't matter about that.
Yeah.
And it's just kind of you'll know at a point when you need to start focusing on certain things. So if you're a young one going to your first tournament, and because you will get beat, everyone gets beat.
Well, you did first one.
Well, no, but I did after that. It's just about potting balls, and if you enjoy it, just play as much as you can, pot as many balls as you can, and it'll come to a point where you're beating people that you didn't think you could beat, or they've beat you quite a lot in the past.
Yeah.
And then you start focusing on other things then. But that's what I did. I just went in the club, potted as many balls as I can, and then when you start making regular 20, 30 breaks, then you push for 40, 50, and then it just goes on from there.
Yes. Do you play pool or anything like that? Because obviously at the moment, quite a few of the snooker pros are going over to Ultimate Pool every now and then. Is that something
Yeah.
you consider?
No, personally, no. I've never really played pool ever, even at the pub or anything. You know, I'll have the odd game with my mate, but I don't know. It's maybe something past time for most of the pros. You know, it's like people like Mark Williams. He's got nothing to do, so he'll jump over to pool. And I remember when Judd went over America for the
Yeah, he did. Yeah,
American pool. Yeah,
he was
I
the
think
favourite to win that.
well, yeah, but it's. I think if there's just something to pass time or earn a bit of money on the side, you know, they've probably got sponsors and stuff paying for everything for them.
Yeah, do you have a sponsor?
One of my best mates' business, he owns a barbers, they sponsor me, and my dad's business, they sponsor me as well.
Do you get a free haircut with your barber sponsor?
Yeah, I do. Yeah, that's where I'm going after I've done this now.
One of the perks, eh?
Yeah, one of the pairs. Yeah, but
So,
he never really used to watch snooker. The owner of the barbers, he's one of my close mates, but since I've been starting going in and turning professional, he watches every single match and he loves it.
so what? Obviously, you just said that he hadn't really watched it before. How would you explain the sport to someone that hadn't seen it, or would you just show them a match?
Most of the time, I just show them because it's just a tough sport to explain. Even my girlfriend's been watching for God knows how long, and she don't watch it on the telly. She watches the scores because she just says, "Oh, he's got more points, he's won."
Yeah.
But to try and explain it to someone, I never want to try it again. It's hard work for someone that's never watched it before.
Right. A couple more questions. First question is because Ryan Thomason struggled with this one. Do you know what Mount Rushmore is?
Mount Rushmore?
Yes. Do you know Mount Rushmore?
Into that place with the four reds on? Or
yes, with the presidents.
Presidents, that's the
Excellent.
one, yeah.
So you know what it is. So if you had a snooker Mount Rushmore, you could have players, referees, directors, anyone you wanted on there. Who would you have and why?
Well, obviously you'd have Ronnie on there.
Yeah.
100%. He's the best that's ever played the game. I'd have. I don't know if you know him. His name's Mark Williams, not the snooker player Mark Williams.
Oh, right.
He's in the back. He's on the desk and everything for all the players, and he's just an absolute legend. One of the funniest people I've ever met. Because I remember at Q school when I got on, just before my quarterfinals match, I asked him if I could borrow his charger for put my phone on charge.
Yeah.
And the last thing he said to me before I went on is, "Well, if you lose this match, I'm keeping your phone." So I went on the match, and I remember it will always stick with me. I remember putting the last ball, and in my head I was thinking, "Oh my God, I can have my phone back." And he was the first person to come to me after I won when I was standing at the back. He's just a legend. I'd have Judd Trump because he's been my favourite player since the first time I ever watched snooker.
Yeah.
And then I don't know. I'd have Dylan.
Sorry, say that again.
I'd probably have Dylan Emery on there just so his face could be shown to everyone and he'd absolutely hate it.
Fair enough. Right, last question that I always end on. What's your funniest story, snooker related?
Funniest story. I've got one that's not funny, but it's quite a good story, and I have got a funny one.
Tell them both.
The not so funny one was when we were in Portugal. I think it was last year when Dylan won the under-21s to get on the tour.
Yeah.
I was walking along the beach with my dad. Hammond was there as well, and I got my phone out to look at the scores because I thought the match was on in the evening, but it was already on.
Yeah.
And Dylan was about 20 points ahead in the frame that he actually won. So I've said to my dad, "Oh, I'm going to go back, watch it," and I've refreshed it, and he's 30 points ahead. So I've started sprinting along this beachfront, and there was like a sandcastle, and there was a family to the right, and I've kicked the sandcastle over, and this Portuguese man comes running over to me, shouting at me. So I was like, "I'm sorry, my friend's about to win a tournament," and he was kicking off and sprinted after me, following me down this beach. And I've opened the doors, and Dylan potted the last ball to to get on the tour, and I'll never forget this Portuguese man just chasing me down this beach.
Did he catch up with you?
No, I had some flip flops on, and I think he was barefoot, so I was a little bit quicker than him.
What's your?
And then there was me and my dad went to China. First time we'd properly gone abroad to China, and we were on like the little tube system, like in London, the underground.
Yeah.
We were in there with the bags. We've come off. My dad looked at me and says, "Oh, have you got the bags?" I says, "No, I thought you had them." Turns out these bags had been left on the tube, but the bags had the visas in, the passports, all the money, the snooker glasses. The bag had everything in. So we've had to go to the British Embassy and cancel the passports, and we got put in this B&B. But I'm not kidding you. You walked in the room and it was just a bed. You couldn't walk around the bed. You couldn't go behind the bed. Just this bed in there, just one for me and my dad. So we had to stay there for 2 days. We went back to the British Embassy to cancel the passports and visas altogether. And just as we were about to sign the papers, the police have rung us and told us that they found the bags. So we went down to the police station, and there was about 50 people with cameras, big cameras, like a camera crew. And it turned out that because we were English and snooker players, this person who found the bags turned into a celebrity. So we had newspapers, like news channels with big cameras in a face saying, talking Chinese to us. We had no idea what they were saying. And we just said, "Oh yeah, brilliant," kind of thing. And he went on. About 2 months later, we got sent a news channel from China through WeChat by one of the Chinese, and this guy had got put on telly in front of millions of people telling the story about how we found an English person's bag. But we got the bullet train, and we literally got off the bullet train, got a taxi to the venue, and I had to get dressed in the toilets, and we made it about 5 minutes before the match started.
Yeah. It's a different one, that is.
Yeah, it's crazy over there.
All right, well, that's it. I'm out of questions for yourself, so I'm going to let you go and get your hair cut. So thank you very much for watching, for listening, however you're tuning in to this episode. Thank you to Jenson. He says goodbye.
Thank you very much. See you
Hopefully
later.
next time we're going to have Ultimate Pool Challenger player Brad Malaby on. It might not be myself hosting next time, so you might get my colleague hosting instead. But thank you once again to Jenson. Thank you for listening, watching, however you tuned in. And we will see you next time.